time to talk about my favorite podcasts. Hi, I'm Aaron Jones, and welcome to another vlog coming to you from Nihama in Japan. And today I wanted to talk to you about my favorite podcasts. I love listening to podcasts. I love filling dead time with learning things, listening to something where I can learn and get an education from. And this started for me when I was in university. When I was studying Japanese, I would get the audio cassettes from the language part of the university. They were, yes, cassettes. And then when I was driving, I would listen to them in the car and practice my Japanese. I also do this with some audiobooks. I like to use this dead time, walking, standing in line, listening to educational material to learn something in that dead time. And so a big part of my recent life for the last couple of years is listening to podcasts when I'm driving and all that kind of stuff. And I usually listen to podcasts on my iPhone. And when I'm driving, my iPhone connects to my navigation system through the Bluetooth, or I use these Bose headsets that I use. Very nice when you're going out like that. Very good sound. These ones are, what are these called? These are called the Bose SoundLink. And they're very good. There's all kinds of earphones. The regular earbuds will be fine. And the application that I use on my iPhone, I don't use the Apple's podcast app. I use Downcast, which I've talked about before, and that's what I use to listen to my podcast. So that's enough of the pre-ramble. Let's get into my favorite podcasts. Okay, the first two podcasts I'm going to talk about come on the British Tech Network. And the first one is The Mac Show, because I like Apple products, and this show is great, interesting podcast. It comes out every week, in Japan time. It's usually Friday, I think Friday or Saturday morning that I get it on in my Downcast application. It's hosted by Ewan Rankin, and it has a great panel, and it's very community based. It's a little bit different kind of podcast, but their humor, and of course it's a British Tech Network. Not all the guests and hosts on that show are British. It's just that's what it's called. I really recommend this podcast if you like Mac and Apple products, and you just like people. Basically, it's people who use Apple products on a daily basis talking about it. So that's what I find interesting. It's people like me who enjoy using these products every day in their life and are interested in what's coming up, what's changed, what's good, what's bad, and have a discussion about it. And I enjoy that podcast. The other podcast on the British Tech Network is the News Show, and this is a 5-minute podcast that comes out almost every weekday, and it's hosted by Kyle Swagger, and it gives you an update of the tech news that happened the day before. And so I recommend that. It's a 5-minute listen, and when it gets downloaded to my podcast in the morning, it's usually when I'm going to work. It's a good time because of the time difference. I'm in Japan, so it's actually the day before. But when I'm driving to work, it starts the podcast of the news, so I can catch up on the news that happened basically overnight while sleeping, because when I wake up in the morning, it's usually downloaded already. So that's that podcast. So the links to all the podcasts I talk about in this vlog will be down in the description below. So the first set come from the British Tech Network. I go check them out. There's a lot of other podcasts on that network, and you'll probably find something you like. So go check them out. The next two podcasts come from This American Life, and the two I'm going to talk about, the first one is Serial, and the other one is S-Town. Now, if you like true crime investigation and mystery, but true crime, fact hunting, storytelling, narrative type podcasts, I recommend Serial and S-Town. Now, I'm not going to talk to you about the contents of these because it'll give away what is going on. It's best that you actually listen to them and learn about them. I'll put a link to the web pages for them below. Serial, that has had 2 seasons so far, and both are very, very good and very interesting. And then they had a spin-off series called S-Town. And this is I don't know if there's probably not going to be a continuation because it's one kind of story. It's not a true crime story. It's hard to explain, but I really suggest you check it out. And I believe it's 7 episodes that you can all download at once and listen to. When it first came out, I listened to it basically in one setting almost all night. I couldn't sleep because the story, the narrative is very good, and this is all real things that happened, and then you want to hear what happens next, and then you listen to the next one, and I ended up being up all night listening to it, and very, very interesting. And I guess soon, maybe next year, Serial's season 3 is coming out, and so I'm looking forward to listening to that podcast. Now, those are already finished, but they're ones I highly recommend, and when they are updated, I will surely be listening to them when they come out. So go check them out. That's Serial and S-Town on This American Life. Again, check the links down below. Okay, and the last 2 podcasts I'm going to talk about again come from the same kind of network, and they come from How Stuff Works. The first one is Tech Stuff, and this is hosted by Jonathan Strickland. I've listened to this podcast for the last couple of years, and it's a great way to learn about technology, the history behind it, how certain technology works. Jonathan's over the years in the shows he's been a two-person show, and the co-host has changed, but now he's doing it by himself, and he has some guests on sometimes. But it's a great way to listen to and learn about technology, and there's an episode every week, and it's a great big back catalog of episodes, so you can go back, and if you want to learn something that's probably being done, and you can check that out, and it's really good listening. And they're usually about 45 minutes long and 45 minutes in length, and so you get a good consistent history. And some of the episodes span 2 or 3 episodes depending on the topic, such as, like, say, a company's history. He'll go through the company's history, and usually those are a couple episodes, but they're very, very good, and it's a great way to learn. And then if you have some technology and you want to know how it works, he has podcasts on how certain technology works. So I would go and recommend that you check that one out. The other podcast on that same network is the last one I'm going to talk about today, and that is Stuff You Should Know, hosted by Josh Clark and Chuck Bryant. And again, I have been listening to this for the last couple of years, and they cover a variety of subjects, from how shrunken heads works to how frogs works, anything. They have it's a big variety of topics, and it's an entertaining podcast to listen to. Again, this one comes out as about 2 episodes, new episodes every week. And they also have now a third one where they're going back into the old library. Again, it has a big library of podcasts and pulling out all the episodes that they find that or be interesting for the new listeners to maybe hear again. So they're recycling some of the old ones once a week, but they usually have 2 new ones every week, and very entertaining. And I always look forward to listening to those episodes. I'm a little bit backed up on my podcast, so I have to keep listening constantly to catch up, but I don't usually skip episodes because I want to listen to them because they're educational, and I enjoy listening to what they have to say and learning about these various subjects. So those are the podcasts that I listen to now. Over the years, I have listened to many, many different podcasts. I listened to some for a while, then quit, and some for longer and quit. But today, as of September 30th, 2017, these are the podcasts that I listen to on a regular basis. And again, the links are down below. If you have any podcasts that you would like to recommend to me that I should check out, please let me know in the comments below, because I enjoy listening to podcasts. So if you have one that you think might fit my interests and my personality and maybe I would be interested in, go ahead and let me know down below, because I will certainly check it out. And do you listen to any of the podcasts I described that I talked about today, my favorite ones? What do you think about them? Also leave your comments down below. Don't forget to check the links to check these ones out, because I really recommend them. And until next time, and that's all for today, and until then, see you then. Goodbye.